I would like to welcome the audience to the October 23rd, 2018 Lake Street Overlay Review Team Meeting. Roll call, please. Christie.
Mr. Guy Brain,
Here.
Mr. Chris Landry,
Here.
Mr. Brian Abshire is absent, Mr. Kyle Link,
Here.
and Mr. Jake Porsche.
Here.
Thank you. Item 3, this is a 5-member review team. It will take a majority of those members present to grant or deny any request heard tonight. The meeting will be conducted with me reading the requests from the agenda. The planning staff will give a presentation and a report their recommendations. If the applicant would like to add to the staff's presentation, or someone from the audience has comments related to the agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name, address, and nature of your request. All persons wishing to speak other than the applicants need to fill out a blue request to appear form located in the back of this room. The form must be given to a staff member prior to the meeting of the agenda item. Please turn off your cell phones and pagers. Item 4, take appropriate action on 0V-0918-0008, a request by John Kevin Broussard for major alternative design. 1, to establish a use not permitted, mini warehouses. 2, to deviate from property development regulations. And 3, to deviate from the landscaping requirement at 6549 Lake Street in Ward 3. I will entertain a motion.
Move to discuss.
Okay, I have a motion to discuss and a second. Mr. Landry? Oh, Tammy? I'm sorry.
You don't want me to tell you about it.
Oh, okay, got it. Go ahead, Ms. Tammy.
The applicant on this request is the owner of the Toy Shed, a boat and RV storage facility located north of this property and on the rear of this property. Within the overlay district, the applicant would like to expand that business to include 4 100-foot by 120-foot metal buildings to be used for climate-controlled storage. Each building will have 71 individual storage units. To move forward, the applicant must receive approval on 3 major alternative requests. 1, the Lake Street Overlay District does not allow mini warehouses as permitted use. The applicant would like the review team to approve that use at this location. 2, the applicant is requesting a number of deviations from property development standards, which are as follows. Buildings with no architectural theme, metal roofs with 1 foot on 12-foot pitch, 2 buildings with brick facades and all other sides metal, and 2 buildings with completely metal exteriors, no provisions for trash receptacles or benches, and an asphalt parking area without a curb configuration. 3, the applicant is requesting complete relief from all landscape standards. This includes the required street yard planting area and the required landscape buffer areas along property lines. The staff recommends the request be granted with the following conditions: that the development adhere to the site plan on file with the Division of Planning and Development, provided that the director or designee may authorize adjustments to site plans in light of technical or engineering considerations discovered during development. 2, that a runoff management plan will be required unless appropriate waivers are granted by the Division of Engineering. 3, that the development must meet all other requirements under the Lake Street Overlay District. And 4, that permitting is subject to approval from the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development.
Thank you, Ms. Ton. Any discussion? Mr. Landry.
You're gonna have to repeat part of that real slow. I didn't get all that.
Which part?
Let's go back. Okay, number 1, obviously he wants to put many warehouses. I personally really don't have a problem with that because he's really kind of grandfathered in. It's been there forever. let's go to number 2.
Okay.
Because that was long. There was a
I'm
lot
sorry.
of stuff there.
Okay.
Give me the size, what is it, 100 by 400? Is that what you said?
100 by 120.
100 by 120.
Four buildings that are 100 by
4
120.
buildings, 100 by 120. And they'll run, I guess, from east to, or west to east? The front will
East to
be
west. Or west to
towards
east.
the west, I guess.
West to east. From Lake Street
Will they be
east.
lined up, or will they be, do we have a site plan or something?
There should be a site
You should
plan
have a site plan.
in there.
There's a,
There'll be 2 along Lake Street, and then to the east of that, there will be 2 more.
if you look on your computer, there's a packet
Yeah, I don't look on my computer.
there.
No, I might do it.
What'd you get?
Oh, no, I didn't do it. Oh, wait, it might, there we go. Okay, so 2 and 2. Can't beat paper.
Yeah, so he's got,
Go ahead, Mr. Crane.
I'm just saying, he's got an existing building in the front. If you look on his site plan, the sort of.
Same entrance, you're gonna use
Yeah,
the same entrance.
That's correct.
And let's see, that building that's in front of, is that currently that little brick building? It's got a brick face to it?
That is correct.
Is it metal on the sides and in the rear?
That is
That's
correct.
correct.
Is it also metal on the south side?
Yes.
It is? Yeah. We probably shouldn't have let him do that. Too late. Okay. And they're gonna be metal all the way around and metal roofs.
2 of the buildings will be completely metal with metal roofs.
That the two
The 2
towards
on
the west?
east.
I
the
mean,
2 on the
east side, east end,
The 2 on the west side will have brick facades
which is closer to the
with
road.
3-sided metal and metal roof.
What else, I'm just trying to imagine how much of that are we gonna be able to see if we're heading from the south towards the north? It seems like he has some other stuff out there that may block part of that. I know the trees are there.
Right.
He does have an existing toy shed building to the north of this location.
Existing
And he's
what?
here if you would like, the existing toy shed,
Okay.
which is the RV and boat storage.
We'll let
Mr.
the
Bruce,
applicant-
Mr. Broussard. Go ahead.
Chris,
What's state your name?
Kevin Broussard, 6515 Lake Street. On the south, Arnie's property borders me on the south side. It's probably gonna be about 25 or 30 feet from that building. And he's gonna put up a 6-foot fence there.
He is?
Well, he put fence up on the 3 sides. As soon as he starts developing that side, he's
So
gonna.
then he'll.
Yeah, which he's got, I think y'all rezoned it, they did something with it, so he's probably gonna start pretty quick. Probably
So
March
it's
or something.
really gonna go, it'll extend almost to the rear of your property.
It'll go all the way to the rear of my
All
property,
the way to
right?
the rear. Yeah, the current storage that you have is actually to the north of,
Correct.
of this site plan. So you will see this from, well, you will see it now.
Now,
Is this, Mr. Crane, is this airport property to the south of his property, or?
Let me see where you.
part of it's Arnie's, and right in the corner belongs to Lawrence Lowry.
I mean, if we imagine it being fully developed here, which I'm sure something else will happen, whether Orny adds on to the subdivision, at some point, there'll probably be a fence around it, and you may not see this. You know, I know we're gonna see it for a while, as long as the fence is there. I think once you get close, the trees that are up front are probably really gonna, I'm sure you're not gonna cut the trees down. I mean, they've been there for however many hundreds of years, I
Well-
wouldn't imagine. And you do still live there, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The state required me to widen that entrance, so I'm gonna have to take one of those trees down. It's killing me, but it's in the way.
Okay. So is that right, Mr. Crane? We think Mr. Natale owns the property to the south?
Oh, I see, no, it'd be the other one. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's it, that's it. The one I was looking at there. Go ahead.
Mr. Crane.
I'm sorry.
Do we believe that Mr. Natale owns a property to the south
Yes, he does.
that adjoins?
He does, yes.
Yes, sir.
And does he own it all the way to the corner?
He does not own the corner.
He doesn't own the corner. Is it airport?
No, that is not airport.
Lawrence
Not in the
Lowry.
flight zone.
Mr. Lowry owns the corner.
I mean, at first, I would have probably told you that the south side would have to be brick, which I know that isn't what you want to hear, but it would look better. But I think that would probably be an added expense that's only gonna last a certain amount of time. I don't know what my colleagues here think, but at some point, there'll be development around there. I would guess that Mr. Natale is gonna circle around and put houses.
I mean, you know how Arnie builds this stuff. I mean, I guarantee you next year it'll be full of houses. right
And,
there.
and he'll probably put a fence in order for him to, be able to sell the lots, those, and to shield those people, yeah. So I don't guess I have a problem with that. Okay, what was let's get past the metal. If we get past the metal.
Okay. So, let's see. No provisions for trash receptacles or benches. That was the
Did you
next
say
one.
benches,
Benches,
as in to
like
sit
park
on?
benches,
Seating,
seating
like a
benches.
Yeah, I don't think you need that.
Okay.
And trash receptacles. I mean, are you gonna have any trash cans out there? People are pigs. I mean, they just are.
I'm probably have something inside the building for them to, I mean, if I put it outside, because it's a climate control building, so
Climate
they'll be
control.
coming in and out, they'll be dumping, just miscellaneous trash, so there'll be something probably inside the building.
I would
But-
like to see a trash receptacle somewhere near the door, maybe. And
Outside.
maybe he can split. Are they gonna enter in the middle?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
Yes. The parking area is in the middle of the buildings, which will service, all the, so,
Maybe you could put them there. I think you're gonna need them.
on the outside?
I'm just telling you. I mean, maybe the folks you rent to are pretty good, but, and it does help that you live there. And I'm sure everybody that you rent to knows that you live there, but
Can we close?
Yeah.
of course, if we fix our litter ordinance, maybe that won't be a problem anymore. Go ahead, tell me what you think.
Can I speak?
Yes, sir. Go,
Okay.
Mr. Crane.
Obviously, I think the whole idea behind these overlay districts was to create a look.
Yeah.
To create an aesthetic within the corridor. And I think, when we talk about, lighting or receptacles, benches, those sort of, they add to the aesthetic of that look. And so, perhaps of course, this is a use that is not normally permitted. So normally we'd be talking about offices and things like that, which you would typically have something like that in front of it. So this is a little bit unique in the fact that we're having to approve a different use, and you're having to retrofit some of that into that. So, and you probably can. I mean, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just,
Well, had he not already been there, I wouldn't vote for this.
no, I understand. I'm just
But,
saying, I think, perhaps it makes some sense, on the front of the building, if you're trying to, I mean, he is gonna put a nice facade
Right.
on the front. The two buildings on the rear, you're not really gonna see those buildings, from the front of from the front of Lake Street, is what I'm saying. They're gonna be hidden by these two buildings in the front that have the facade. So perhaps it makes some sense to do some, a trash receptacle that's decorative, architectural feature on the front of these two buildings, versus the ones on the back. So that's my thought.
Of course, there's not an entrance there, so I can't imagine anybody using the trash can.
Oh, this is not an entrance?
No, the entrances are on the, well, no, because you're looking at the
Was the
building.
intention,
You
was
have
the
a-
original plan to
you have a layout of the site.
inside?
Yeah, site plan.
That's what I think he's gonna do. I mean, it probably,
Inside and out.
Okay, you see, this is Lake Street here.
Okay.
We're gonna drive in between there, so the parking area, the entrance doors are these four.
Where is this, but where does that facade get treated? Where is that facade?
Well, this is actually showing the front of the building, but this is gonna be, this is the door's actually on the other side. So this is gonna face Lake Street. There won't be a door there.
Oh, I see, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it-
I thought that was a
My,
door. Maybe the architect needs to
My
explain
architect,
that.
but
Let's get the architect up here.
Okay,
Jeff Cudlett, 1720 Enterprise
it will have a
Boulevard.
raised-
hang on a second, Jeff.
So you won't see any roof line from Lake Street.
Okay, Kevin, thank you, sir.
I'm done?
Yeah, just for right now.
Just wait right there, right?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, what we did, I got some questions from Wes and Tammy about this when we turned this in. Yeah, the front of the building looks like the front of the building, but the way that this ordinance is structured, requiring the parking to be either on the side or the rear of the building, just looking at what Kevin was trying to do, it made sense for us to put the parking sort of between those buildings, and then it was located compliant to the ordinance. But at the same time, we thought, well, that means the front of the building's the back. And we didn't think that would look very good toward Lake Street, so we put what looks like an entrance facing Lake Street. We thought it'd be a little more friendly, but functionally, these buildings, these folks are gonna enter from the back, there's no doubt. It's kind of one of those things, which is the front the back or the back the front? And we thought, well, if it's the front of the building that's facing Lake Street, it ought to look like the front of the building, even though people aren't gonna use it.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you for making it look that way. Okay. So what were your other things?
So
Are y'all clear?
are you making a motion for
Yeah,
the
no,
trash
we're not. I'm
receptacle?
still wanting to hear all
Oh,
the
okay.
different.
Okay.
I'm just wondering how
Make
many.
sure that I
The
didn't
next
miss
item,
something.
the next item is an asphalt parking area without a curb configuration.
I mean, the rest of it, he probably doesn't have that on what's existing there anyway, does he? Okay, keep going.
Okay, and then
Do
the
we have a
third,
good asphalt company that's gonna asphalt that?
You may know.
I understand that it's concrete maybe.
Well, they will meet the concrete sidewalk in front of the building in between.
Okay.
So, I mean,
And number three, the applicant is requesting complete relief
So
from
that was all of number two.
landscape, that was all of number 2.
Okay, well, that isn't too bad. And the front looks like the front, even though it's really the back.
The front is the
That's good.
front.
The front is really the back.
Makes me think of poor Algie Bro. Anyway, does yes mean yes or yes mean no?
Algebra.
Yeah, if you know him, then it makes sense. If you don't, then I'm just rambling.
That's
Okay, now that we're on to landscaping,
Okay.
is there landscaping between, and I'm looking at the little site plan, I guess in between the road and the building?
No,
Or they're asking to do no landscaping?
go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Crane.
So he does have existing live oaks. Now, it's not shown on the plan, which they probably should have shown them on the plan, but there are some live oaks that would certainly meet the tree requirements,
Right.
for the landscape section of the ordinance. Now, it doesn't meet, the shrub requirements or anything
Right,
like that.
smaller stuff that would be near the building.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I'm going to jump in. It was kind of interesting how this project was structured, but when we got to this part about the overlay, I honestly went on Google Earth and looked at the street view, drove by and looked at what was there and thought, well, I can't remember, because we had to ask for a variance when we did the other building on the site, when we did the office. And I looked and I said, well, whatever we didn't have to do there, just keep going with it. But I don't think after talking with Kevin and understanding the situation, he's not averse to doing some landscaping. He said, in fact, he planned to. So while the request is stated to be completely exempt from it, I don't think this party objects to doing some landscaping.
I would say that, you're the landscape architect, not me. So can't they just get with you, y'all work something out on these small shrubs to where the front of it is gonna be landscaped?
Sure.
And of course, the existing trees are gonna take care of the tree portion.
Well, I think, again, we can count the existing trees as part of the requirement. I haven't
Right.
calculated, determined how many do we need, but I don't know how many's out there, Jeff. I mean, you're gonna have to take one down.
They'll probably, let's see, there's one, two, I think there's 6 now, so I'll end up with 5.
Okay, so, I mean,
There's three and three on each side of the driveway, and I'm gonna take one out, so they'll be fine.
so he's probably gonna meet that requirement, but then we can work with him on, meeting the other part of that, where you have shrubs and, ground cover or whatever. I mean,
So how am I gonna word that in a form of a motion?
well, I mean, you can just say that
Yeah, we'll just do
he's
a
got
stipulation that he works with.
that
the
he
staff.
meet the requirements of the ordinance, and then we work with him to do a plan that meets that. And I think he'll be able to meet it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that's an issue.
And, I mean,
We just didn't
It
have a
shouldn't be
plan
that
to
big of a
review. There
deal.
was
I wouldn't
nothing,
think so.
there was nothing to review. And then there was a request to not do anything. And
well,
so,
what about the lighting? Do we have any,
I don't think there was
have
anything.
we addressed the lighting?
He was not requesting
He
to
was not
deviate from the
requesting to
lighting.
deviate.
Because we have to imagine, so he'll do the lighting?
He'll meet
No
the
problem.
lighting,
Okay,
yeah.
then that's good. Because, yeah, I mean, at some point, there are going to be houses that are going to be
Yeah.
adjoining up there pretty
Sure.
close. And probably be nice not for the light to be shining in your bedroom, like I have in my house. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I guess I'll make a motion to add the amendment that or amendment or stipulation, however you want to put it, that either Mr. Cudler or Mr. Broussard or whoever the representative is, work with the staff to come up with a plan that would be acceptable to Mr. Crane for the landscaping
That would
Okay.
meet the ordinance.
and meet the ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, I have that motion. I'm not gonna try to repeat it
Now, yeah, I probably couldn't repeat it.
by Mr. Landry.
Are we going to mostly apply that to around the front area?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. And-
my intent is for him not to go all the way around the building because you're not going to see it.
No. No, it would really be for the street tree requirement,
Okay.
the street landscape requirement.
All right.
So I think that's where we would focus on, is that street planting and in the front there.
Okay, so I got a motion on my landscape amendment, if I can get a second.
You got a second by Mr. Porsche. Is there any other discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, that motion will carry.
I'll make a motion to accept. Hold on. To accept the project. Well, we just voted on the amendment. You gotta
Yeah, y'all
vote- you
voted on
gotta
the
make a
amendment, so you already
motion
had a motion
to
to
accept
accept
the
the,
project.
Okay,
so you
or the
made that.
proposal.
okay. We have
So
a-
moved.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Link. Any objection? Discussion? Hearing none, motion carries. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
A motion and a second, we are adjourned.